Hello, YouTube and Twitch. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. We're going to be doing some more Battlefront 2. So let's jump into it. It's been a hot minute. Feels good to be back. I've really missed streaming. I mean, I know it's only been like 4 days, but I don't know, man. Sometimes it just feels like sometimes it feels like it doesn't take long to lose steam, you know? And I guess I'm someone who kind of overthinks things, but yeah, I'm really glad to be back. I've been looking forward to this all week. I've just been so busy. So much stuff going on. And this is our busiest season, so it's just kind of exhausting, but enough of that. I'm excited to be back. I've missed hanging out with you guys and playing games, and hopefully we can get a little bit better. That's my goal. I want to get really good at shooters again. We always start a little rusty, but like halfway through the first match, we kind of warm up and get a little bit better. So, but yeah. Even though I haven't been able to stream the last couple of days, I've been able to think a lot about streaming and everything, and it's been really good. So I'm really glad to be back. And I think... Ooh. Oh! Oof. Come on. Peek. Oh! The stun grenade, or the blind grenade got me. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun. I really want to... I've been watching over my VODs, and I like my energy, and well, okay, I like my personality. Not to sound vain or conceited or anything, but watching my streams, my VODs back, I like my personality. I think something that I just need to work on a little bit more is have a little bit more energy, and I think part of that is due to the fact that we played some more mellow games, which is fine. It's been fun, but I definitely want to bring a little bit more pizzazz to my live streams. So it's something I'm going to be working on. Kiwi Paste, hello. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I don't want to be like a really loud, obnoxious streamer. And I've seen like clip farming is a really big thing now. So all these streamers will kind of orchestrate a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I understand that, like, essentially as a streamer, depending on how you present yourself, you're kind of an entertainer. And so I respect that some of these guys have things kind of orchestrated. It's like, you know, you're putting on a show, and so, or like a play, where there's kind of like acts and everything that these streamers have prepared. And so when you think about it like that, I understand what they're doing, and I kind of have some admiration and respect for it, because it takes a lot of focus and energy. But at the same time, sometimes intent is also really important. And so I think, okay, what's the intent for all these orchestrated scenes that these streamers act out? And obviously, sometimes it's for like momentary enjoyment for their viewers. But I think a big part of it too is just clip farming. And that's a huge thing right now, because that's how you gain notoriety and get a lot more followers and revenue streams, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, clip farming makes you a ton of money, and it brings in a lot of people. And so there's a lot of moments on stream that are kind of cringe. Ads in 1 minute, by the way, chat. But yeah, like I was watching, you know, like all the big guys like Kai Cenat and Jinxie, Queso, all those guys, don't get me wrong, they're obviously very talented. I respect those guys a lot, but at the same time, There's some like really cringe, awkward moments that are just like very blatant clip farming. And I don't, you know, long tangent aside, I just don't want to be like that kind of streamer, you know? Pizzazz. I feel like people can tell if you're being real or not. Eventually people want authenticity, and it's more exciting when something crazy happens organically. Yeah, I completely agree, 100%. I think those organic moments are a lot more validating and fulfilling. Like a random example. So Jinxie, for those of you that don't know, is like a really big Rainbow Six streamer and Clash of Clans, I guess. I don't know. I don't really watch him. Again, it's like, this isn't like a personal judgment on this streamer, because obviously they're very talented, they're very likable, and they have like a huge following, so they're very successful. I'm not criticizing them personally, but I saw one clip, and this Jinxie guy, right? He was I don't know, he was bitching about caps on water bottles, like very blatantly, like, oh my god, chat, like, what are caps good for? And then he like kind of like purposefully, accidentally like slams his desk, and the water bottle spills on his keyboard, and he's like, oh, hot face palm, that's what they're good for. And, you know, chat's just like, LMAO, LMAO, LMAO. But anyone who watches that is just like, okay, dude, like, again, you know, it's all part of an act. It's like a play. You're putting on a show for people. You got to have some stuff set up. You got to play things out. You got to act a little bit. I respect that 100%. But again, at the same time, when you're like trying to farm what would be an authentic or an organic moment, it kind of, for me personally, loses some of that like excitement. And it just makes it like, I don't think it's funny. It just makes me cringe and not want to watch it. Again, no personal complaints about Jinxie. Everything that I've seen from him, he seems like a really cool guy, and he's done a lot for the community and everything. Like, that's great. I'm just talking about like this new wave of like content creation is very interesting, and I've always had a huge issue with like things that aren't authentic. I've always wanted to try and be like the most authentic version of myself, which is a very difficult thing to do. But yeah, it's something that I've just been thinking about a lot lately as I've tried to like hammer in my personality on stream. Oh, that's pretty cringe. Yeah, and there's a lot of that, you know, if you, because like, so these big streamers, there's literal people that just clip farm, because that's how like social media works, you know. These people will watch big streamers streams and they'll clip like key moments, and then they'll post that content on social media because it gets a lot of hits. And obviously for the clip farmer, that generates views and interactions and eventually revenue. And at the end of the day, like, I think that's like a big issue, is anything inauthentic usually inevitably boils down to money, in my opinion. And of course, you know, it's, people are making livings off of this, and you got to do what you got to do. I totally get it, you know. But I don't know. I guess for me, I just hope that at some point I could just make a living off of this. Like that's I couldn't ask for anything, but if I could say something that I want from streaming, I hope that I can make a living off of this, so that I can do this always, full time, and never have to work like a regular job again. And I like working, I really do, but I've worked a lot of jobs that have made me completely miserable, and I've been in that position where I've had no choice. You know, I have to work that job, otherwise I'm not paying my bills. And you know, kind of going back to like the main point is that Like, I would be happy if I could afford food and pay my bills. Anything beyond that is an absolute blessing, and I will, you know, further invest into the stream and like the production quality. I would like to do, you know, currently we're doing charity work, and I would love to do more charity work. And I'm not trying to virtue signal. I don't want to sound like a twat, but I grew up poor, and I've kind of always lived a little bit poorer. I'm very lucky with what I have now. Don't get me wrong, but you know, again, coming back to like, when this does work out for me, I just never want to be the type of person that's just inorganically farming clips for hits, you know? I would prefer... Now, if there's a stream that is going to be like a dedicated, like... If I'm going to have like dedicated segments that I'm going to act out and everything, that's different. But if you're just like casually going through every stream trying to fabricate all these bullshit clips, I don't know. Just kind of cringe. Like you're saying, though, it's fair. They figured out the system and are taking advantage of it. Can't blame them, but it kind of sucks at the same time. But in the grand scheme of things, not a huge deal. No, yeah, that's the thing. It's not a huge deal at the end of the day. I'm still going to watch these guys. I still like watching Jinxie, Kaisenet, Queso from time to time. Again, awesome dudes, great content. I have no qualms with them personally whatsoever. It's just the nature of, like, the industry. And it's really... Yo, Luke, KYS. It's really interesting to see how like things develop over time, you know? Because this is, to my understanding, since I'm like pretty new to the whole streaming game, this seems to be like kind of a newer thing. Like this whole like, well, not newer, you know, I don't know. I feel like I didn't catch on to this whole thing until I started seeing Pirate Software and Asmongold. Like Asmongold would just clip like his hot takes on politics, and then Pirate Software would always clip his drawings that he would do, and like usually he's just bitching about Blizzard, which is valid. But yeah, I feel like clipping, people are starting to, it's becoming like more mainstream, I guess. Like clipping's always been around, but I feel like it hasn't been utilized as a tool to like grow your platform as exponentially as it has become. Because it's really simple. You essentially, you can do almost everything through Twitch entirely. And all you would need is like a simple video editing software like CapCut, which is free. And you can literally clip from Twitch, and then you can orient it to portrait mode on Twitch, just like Queso posts his clips, where like his camera's in the top view and then the gameplay in the bottom view. Like Twitch does that all for you automatically, and it's super simple. And then you could, if you want to like trim it up, you could take like 2 minutes in CapCut to trim the video, and then boom, you've literally got like a fully developed clip that you could post on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and I'm sure there's more. Like I don't have Facebook. I don't bother with Facebook. You could maybe post on X, but I feel like X probably wouldn't be a good spot for that. I don't think that content would really do well on there. But yeah, you've got 3 platforms, you know, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, and all 3 of those platforms get a lot of attention, especially when you got the short form content, because people are scrolling so fast. You'll get a lot of views, and it's a great way for growth. But yeah, with the whole clip farming thing, you know, people do that for a living, and some of them make like a lot of money, and some of them are hired by the streamers to clip farm for those streamers. There's this one guy, Neon. He claims to pay his clippers like $100,000 a year, and these guys literally just sit on his stream and clip moments. And I don't even know, they might do some editing but I imagine it might not even extend that far, honestly. Or if they do the editing for their personal videos so that they can post it. And because, you know, inevitably I kind of used the analogy last stream in like a different circumstance, but it's like the sharks, you know, like, you know how when you're watching a nature documentary and you see like the sharks and the little fish that are swimming around the sharks, you know, in nature, that's like a symbiotic relationship. The little fish clean the sharks, and the sharks offer the little fish protection. And with like streamers and clippers can take streamers' content and post those clips and make money off of those clips. And some streamers will also pay the clippers on top of that, so they have a dual revenue stream. But also, this gets the clippers a ton of visibility on platforms, and also it takes a lot of that work away from them, so they can focus on the streaming and editing videos, or, you know, whatever else they're doing. And so, you know, it's a win-win for both the clippers and the streamers. And it's just kind of this compounding ladder, like one helps the other, and like so on and so forth, and it just continues to ascend like that. But it's really cool, honestly. I think it's a really cool ecosystem that is like developed from streaming. It's really interesting. Oh, okay. We're still warming up. We're still getting there. But yeah, I think just talking about all that, I've been because I haven't streamed in like 4 days, so I've been thinking a lot about like watching the old VODs, and I've been thinking a lot about how I want to present myself and my personality and my content and everything. And authenticity is obviously very important to me. And, you know, those are just words. Anyone and everyone would probably say that authenticity is important to them. What matters is actions, especially with a statement like that. But, ooh, that was kind of sick. But yeah, and on top of that, I just noticed I just need to bring a little bit more energy. That's something that I need to work on. And I think something that would support that is so when anyone does anything, right? We kind of live in a society where excitement is almost cringe now, which is really unfortunate. And that's not always the case, but generally, especially if someone's trying something new and they're obviously not very good at it, but they're still passionate nonetheless. And it's the same thing with anybody who wanted to do something and isn't big at the moment, but eventually does become big. At some point, those people were all seen as cringe. And so it's kind of, I guess for me, something that I've always struggled with is like having that passion and energy, and also letting go of the fear of being viewed as cringe. And that was fucking sick. That was dope. Because I don't know, I've always cared what people thought of me, right? And obviously that's not, to a degree, that's not a very good thing. It's important to understand what people think of you, I think, out of like a sign of respect. Like if someone doesn't like me and if they matter to me, I would try to be respectful as to understand why, so I can maybe like heal that relationship. But yeah, again, like going back to like streaming and everything, I always had that fear of like, oh man, if I get like hyped or excited about a moment, like, is that cringe? You know, like I'm just starting, like, why, you know, but that's not, at the end of the day, that's not what is important. That's not what matters. If somebody tunes in, or if people from my past or my life tune in and they start watching, and they're like, oh, Dylan's, you know, getting stoked and he's only got 3 viewers. Like, what a dork. That's so cringe. Like, that's not my problem. You know, that's like a reality that I've constructed in my head. And ultimately, the reality is that should have no impact on who I am or how I present myself to you guys. Because the reality is I've one time peaked at like 19 viewers, which was awesome. Like, that was so dope, you know? And, but at the end of the day, like, whether, so 1 viewer doesn't count. 1 viewer is actually technically, well, I think there's like some discrepancy on this, but sometimes apparently either Twitch will count yourself as a viewer, or I think it also counts your Stream Elements bot. So like, I use Stream Elements, which is kind of like a bot overlay third-party system, and there's a bot in the viewer count right now, or Twitch is just counting but either way, like 1 viewer like doesn't count, right? Because that's essentially that's just 0. That's like equal, 1 viewer is equal to 0 viewers. But like, whether I have 2 viewers or 19 viewers, like, the reality is that, like, I'm fucking stoked. I love doing this. I love being able to play games and hang out with people and get absolutely owned and talk to people. Like, I was max level. That's crazy. So at the end of the day, like, I shouldn't worry about what people think about me, or that, like, you know, I'm trying to do this, because I really am happy and I'm super excited to have this opportunity. Literally, when streaming came out, so here's a little backstory on me. I have been and always will be like a major nerd. Like, that's just who I am, you know. My first memories were video games, and some of my greatest memories were video games, and that's just who I am. Like, it's baked into my identity, is that, like, I'm a big fat nerd and I love movies and video games and books and comics and anime. Like, I love all that stuff. But I grew up in a very small town with a very, like, traditional family, and, you know, to them it was like, this is the dumbest shit ever. Like, what are you talking, dude, that guy is so good. To my family, it was like, that's the fucking dumbest shit ever. Like, what are you doing? You're wasting your life. You're wasting your time. And my family, you know, they would always give me like the, oh, like, you know, video games rot your brain. Like, back when that was still an argument, like, oh, video games rot your brains and you won't make any money off of playing video. God, I'm sucking this match. You won't make any money off of video games and blah, blah, blah. And not that, like, making money off of video games was ever the idea to begin with, but then Twitch came out, and, like, little kid me was so stoked when that was a thing. I thought it was so cool that people could literally just play video games and people could watch and hang out. You know, like, that's something I'd always dreamed of as a kid, especially because growing up, I didn't have access to internet until, like, kind of later, probably like when I was like 15. And so I thought it was super cool, right? But, you know, again, I grew up in an environment with family and friends who just thought that the things that I liked was, you know, stupid or cringe or whatever. And it really, like, hurt my, like, self-esteem and my outlook on myself and my passions and everything. And so, like, against my, wow, dude, we are getting crushed. Like, against my own judgment, you know, because I had so many dissenting voices against my identity, I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. Like, that stuff is all stupid. Why would I want to stream? Because, you know, like, and that was, like, there was so much stigma in, like, my family and the environment that I grew up in that was like, video games are for losers. Like, only losers play video games. And, you know, it really fucked with my head for a while, honestly, like truthfully. And so I kind of, dude, our team is just absolutely getting destroyed. We can't do shit right now.
Getting hot here.
But yeah, like all of those environmental factors really messed with my head. And it was like my whole life I was fighting who I really was out of the attempt to like please my family or, you know, just people in my environment that I grew up with for so long. And then eventually, you know, I just got to this point in my life where I was so unhappy, like I was so miserable because I had tried everything to be who I wasn't, just because people thought that the person who I genuinely was like a loser, you know? And ultimately, I was so unhappy. I never, like, I went to college and I got a degree, and that wasn't a problem. I enjoyed college. I had a lot of fun with all of that, and I got to do a lot of video game related stuff, which made me super happy. And was actually, ironically, to much of my like family's misunderstanding, was like the most successful time of my life. But again, like I graduated and I came back home, and everyone was just like, oh, like, why don't you get a real job, you know? Why don't you, like, get your head out of the clouds? And I was like, okay, cool. I'm glad the last 4 years of my life was completely irrelevant, even though I worked my ass off and I had so much fun doing it. And so then I spent, like, 5 years after graduation, like, trying to figure out, like, okay, well, you know, back to the drawing board, I guess, because none of this video game stuff worked out. Because a goal was going to like work at Blizzard, and then Blizzard had like a bunch of controversies, and I was like, okay, yeah, never mind. I don't really like them anymore. But yeah, man, it was tough, you know. And I'm sure that's probably many other people's stories, because at least for me, like when I was growing up, there was so many stigmas against video games. It was insane. You know, like, oh, video games cause violence. Absolutely no data supports that claim in any way. There is no conclusive data to support that video games equates to any amount of violence in real life. That is completely an unfounded fact, or an unfounded opinion. And then, you know, all the dumb bullshit of like, oh, TV rots your brain, and video games are a waste of time. And it's like, you know what? Maybe video games are a waste of time if people... But, like, what's wrong with people having a fucking hobby? Like, what's wrong with someone just wanting to have fun for a couple minutes? You know? Like, is that such a crime to just have something that you enjoy, that relaxes you? Because it's like, yeah, you're right. You know, you're right. I shouldn't have fun. Let me just work. Why do I even come home? Why don't I just stay at work? I'll just work 16 hours a day and then I'll sleep. But anyways, I digress. You know, it's just that contributed to like what even happened? I just like got force thrown. Dude, this team is so good. I can't even like.
Enemy rigging detonator.
Damn. There's not even there's been like no calm moment where I could like get grounded for a minute and orient myself. Every time I spawn, there's just like, there's Darth Vader. Here he comes. I can't see, I'm blind. Oh, we did a lot of damage though. Damn. And then my team's all just raging against themselves. No fun, only work, no passion. Yeah, exactly. I love that argument when people are like, video games are such a waste of time. And it's like, okay, what do you do for fun? What do you enjoy? You know? like that argument could be set against anyone's hobby, but it's so invalid. Like nothing is a waste of time. If you enjoy it, it helps you relax, you have fun, then it's not a waste of time. You don't have to be productive 24 hours of the day. And that's such a like toxic way of viewing life about like productivity. Like you can do nothing and that's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people fall into that and I can't blame them, but it sucks so much. Yeah, and I think that's unfortunately like I can't speak for, you know, cultures across the world, but for so growing up in America, I always try to take a step outside of like my culture and try to be someone outside looking in. And that was always kind of my perspective with like this. I feel like there's this prevailing inability to relax in America. And again, this might be like a global thing. I don't know. But in America, we are so programmed to, okay, once we gain consciousness, we're basically going to school. Like you might have some few moments where you have individual thoughts at the age of like 3 or whatever. But then before you know it, like you're going to kindergarten, you know? And then you spend like 13 years of your life in school with like K through 12. And then some people end up going to college, which is another 4 years. So that becomes 17 years of your life if you go to college. Right? Yeah, 13 plus 4, 17. If you extend your degree to a master's or a doctorate, that's another 2 to 6 years, depending on your program and what you got going on. And if you take a break here, if you want to study abroad or travel or whatever you want to do. And then all of a sudden, you know, for some people, that's 20, like, yes, you were growing up for like a vast majority of those years through like, you know, your adolescence and teenage years and everything before you become an adult. But like 13 to, unless you drop out, you know, that's also a variable, but like 13 to almost 20 years of just straight education. And probably at that point, you might be working a job or two on the side as well. Because when I was in college, I had, I think, 2 jobs and I was still going to school full time. But you're so conditioned from the very beginning to just enter this system of education. And regardless of whether you go to college or not, boom, you're immediately in the workforce. And now you're a worker. And it is what it is. But everything eventually follows like this 5-day school/work week schedule once you get to the age of like 3 or 4. You know what I mean? Like whenever you go to kindergarten, like bam, you're on a 5-day work week schedule. Like it's school, and it progressively ramps up. Like obviously kindergarten's not that big of a deal, but ultimately, like, we are trained from the very beginning to prepare ourselves for a Monday through Friday. And, you know, some people that's different. Like, I've worked night shift for like the last 5 years in all of my jobs, coincidentally. So I work weird days, but I still work 5 days a week, sometimes, you know, 6 or 7. And I work roughly 40 hours, sometimes more, sometimes less. But like I'm 27 now, and I'm looking back at my life, and I'm like, when the hell, besides like extreme medical or like family circumstances, like when the hell have I had a break from this? You know, like, and that's kind of contributed to like this sense of like what's going on in my life? You know, like this is such a weird way of living. And the only reason why that's so prevalent in my thoughts is because when I was in Fiji, beyond like some of the city culture experiences, Fiji is still like a very tribal society. That some, you know, for some people, they live almost exclusively within the tribe, and they live off of tribal laws as opposed to like country laws, national laws. That's what I was looking for. So for some people, their village's laws will trump the national laws. Ads in 45 seconds, by the way, chat. And but you know, some of these people, So when I had a homestay in Fiji, right? Like I was staying with a family in one of the villages. Absolutely amazing experience. Like I'm incredibly grateful to have been granted the opportunity. But these people, you know, like my family that I was staying with, I don't know where the father was. I never heard the story, but it was a mother and two daughters. And the mother would, her day, so her daughters would go out to school, right? And then the mother, her day was mostly spent just kind of traditionally like gathering food around the village, like from the gardens, or there was a little market that was nearby. And I don't know how or where or even if currency was necessary to pay for the fish or like the occasional meat that she got from the market, but they ate a lot of, so in the village we ate almost like exclusively carbs. Like it was a ton of fruit and a lot of bread. There was literally, even we ate breadfruit, and breadfruit's very dry, and I think they were playing a joke on us because they actually gave us the breadfruit with ketchup, and they're like, oh, it's like French fries. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna, I'll try this, but this sounds weird. But yeah, that it's a fruit called breadfruit, and we ate it with ketchup, and it actually tasted like French fries. It was crazy. But for a lot of these people in the village, jobs were, they were a choice. A lot of the people didn't work. And actually, coincidentally, like public education wasn't made like legally necessary in Fiji until, I can't remember exactly for sure, but I think it was like around the 90s. And so education was still kind of relatively a new thing, or public education rather. And so a lot of these people would wake up and they would just kind of hang around the village. They would pick their fruits and vegetables for the day. If any of them, I think for a lot of them, if they wanted to work, they could. That was kind of the understanding that I was gathering while I was there. I've always butted against America's work culture and our society in general. It sounds edgelord, but yeah, man, I just hate it and want to do something that adds to this world instead of just consume. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I was getting to. So like in the Fijian, like in the villages, right? From my like experiences and understanding, people only worked if they wanted to. And if they did want to work, the vast majority of jobs that were available to them were typically like in hotels. That was kind of like the major professional infrastructure on like the mainland of Fiji, because it was all hospitality based, because that was like their major what's the word, their major, not import or export, but like the major way that the country got money, right, was like tourism. That was their major industry. I think that's the word I was looking for. Tourism was Fiji's major industry. And so people, from my understanding, when I was there back in like 2019, I think, or like 2018, Fijians from like the villages really only worked if they wanted to, just for some like extra cash to go to the shops. And usually that was like, because there was no native animals to Fiji, because it's a very small island. There's like a small mainland, and then there's like 300 other islands that are, some are just, you know, little tiny things out in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. But living in the village, I would wake up, and our you know, we were there on a volunteer trip, and so like we would wake up and we would get ready to volunteer and everything. But for some of the villagers in Fiji, which I dearly miss them because they were such like beautiful and amazing people, they would wake up and they would just kind of do whatever. And like the American mind can't comprehend a full-grown adult waking up and not having like an itinerary or a schedule of tasks to complete in like jobs and social events and gatherings to go to on like a rigid time structure. Because in Fiji, they literally live off the phrase Fiji time. Like, you could say that you're going to go to dinner at 6 with some friends and people might show up at 8 p.m. and that's okay because literally no one gives a shit. Like, they can just do whatever they want whenever they want. And in America, like, we just can't comprehend that because time is so valuable to us. And that's simultaneously like a blessing and a curse, you know? Because it's like, oh, great, like, you know, people are punctual. That's awesome. But why are people punctual? Because our free time is so incredibly limited that we have very little to do with it. And it's like, I'm grateful for everything that I have currently. But at the same time, like, I gotta be real with you, chat, you know, like, sometimes I wake up in the mornings and I'm like, I only have 2 days a week, right? I work 5 days. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure some people work more than me, and, you know, I respect those people, but, and I'm not saying, like, I like working to like a certain extent, depending on the context, but, like, I wake up, man, and it's like, okay, I gotta go to work these 5 days of the week, and there's some things I can do those days. I basically have enough time to go to the gym, work, either relax for a little bit or work on some stream projects for a little bit, and then I go to work. And after work, I'm exhausted. And usually, when I'm continuously going to work, I'm exhausted before and after work because, you know, my job is just so taxing. So sometimes all I have the energy to do is literally nothing before and after work, those days that I'm working. And then my days off hit, and I'm like, okay, awesome, I've got 2 days to myself. But then that kind of sinks in, and I'm like, this is all I get? I get 2 days a week? You know, it's just, it's a crazy way to live, man. Like, I just feel like I haven't seen my family all that much in the last couple of years. And it kind of bums me out because I've got a lot of family members that are getting like really older, you know, and that reality is like kicking in fast. Like, I have family that's just been dropping like flies, and I have more that are only getting older. And sometimes, you know, people say like, oh, well, you know, people will take the time or energy out of their day to dedicate to the people that matter. And it's like, God, chat, I wish I could. I do as much as I can, but some, you know, I only have 2 days, and if I spend one of those days with somebody, then I only have 1 day. And then what happens for those next 5 days? You know, it's just crazy. Like, that stuff compounds so fast because there's so many people that you want to see. I feel like it's why people go in those holistic cults. They just want to live and experience life. Yeah, that's I mean, I would never join a cult, obviously. I mean, I'm sure people that have joined cults have said that in their life. I would never join a cult, and then joined a cult, loved it, or thought they loved it. But I mean, yeah, there is I can see how there is some amount of appeal to people who just want to simply break free from like the standard day-to-day in America. And I'm not saying that this is, you know, don't twist my words. I'm not saying that I hate America or anything. That's like, I think it's bigger than that, you know. I don't think it's like a country or a politician's fault. I think it's just hundreds or thousands of years of like societal and political evolution that have brought our society and culture to this place against any of our own will. You know, at some point, some group of people saw that this was the most efficient way of living, and this has become the standard. And it is what it is. You know, I don't blame anyone or anything for it specifically. It's just an amalgamation of driving factors over centuries of time that has resulted in this current circumstance that we live in. But it sucks. Like, you know, you can think whatever you want of it, but my opinion is this shit fucking sucks. And pardon my language, but it's just, I hate that feeling, man. I gotta level with you, chat. Like, I hate waking up and thinking, okay, here goes the next 5 days of my life. And then eventually I'll get 2 of those days back. And then I gotta do it again for 5. And then it goes. But once you do that, once you feel that way and you do it for a couple years, you just get to this point, despite all the things that I had to be grateful for. And I'm just like, chat, like, what am I doing, man? Like, I'm not trying to be a downer. Like, I'm a very blessed and happy person, and I've got a lot of things to be grateful for in my life. I'm just kind of amazed at, you know, the structure of our society. I feel like it's why people. Oh yeah, that sucks. That's why it's always a weird sex thing with cults. Yeah, very true. Don't ask our cousins about living in communes. They've got way too many stories. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, I've got some family that my family's done all kinds of different things. I've got family that has been in cults. I've got family that have, you know, worked for the government or been in the military or done all kinds of things. And so, you know, I've got a lot of different perspectives in my family, which I'm, you know, grateful for. I get to see what other people think of different situations. And again, I'm not someone who would just like leave civilization entirely and just be like, you know, live out in the woods. And but I know for a lot of people that's a very like romantic idea. Like there's a lot of people, and I feel like it's an increasing number, that just want to leave society altogether and like never look back. And I honestly, I truly love people. I love culture and conversation and stories and learning about people's experiences and their history. I think it's fascinating. I love meeting new people and learning about them. And so I really enjoy people. For me, like, again, like, I'm just someone who, I believe that life in the world is way too complex to blame on any one specific thing. You know, when people say like, oh, this, you know, so-and-so president did this, and it's like, well, you know, this is years and years of development from multiple political parties and politicians and environmental and industry factors. Like, this isn't just one person's doing. Like, this is years and years of development that has like caused this. Or sometimes, you know, some specific situation happens and it just causes like this rampant change that no one expected. You know, like, I'm just a very firm believer in like gray and black and white. You know, I believe in black and white and gray. Like there's always a hidden factor. Or my dad, my stepdad said this once. There's 3 sides to every story. There's her story, his story, and the truth. And not that, you know, because everyone has a different perspective, but then there's also the reality at hand as well, because everyone views life differently. So at the end of the day, life is just really complex, and it's to blame it on one specific thing is just an oversimplification of almost anything. He's low. Nice. Actually, I think you did at my dad's thing. Was Melissa at Corey's wedding? I don't know. I wasn't at Corey's wedding. Because y'all came to that, right? We went to my dad's memorial, yes. But we were not able to make it to Corey's wedding. But yeah, chat. Life is complex. How did we do? We didn't do that great. That's okay. We're getting better. I've noticed some overall improvement in our plays. I noticed eventually too. There's this point after I've warmed up for a little while that like I get into this like flow state and I just start popping off. But usually it takes me like a couple of games. But yeah. But at the same time, again, like I'm not, you know, I'm not a pessimist. After talking about everything that we had talked about today, I'm ultimately like, I don't know what the opposite, an optimist. That's got to be the opposite of a pessimist, right? Like I'm an optimist, you know. Even when someone has wronged me, and despite me probably disliking that person, I still look at them and I still believe that like there's good in them, and not just because they wronged me that makes them an evil person. That's a very childish way of viewing life. I just don't like them. But you know, I believe in like second chances. Everyone deserves grace. And there's a lot of people. I've had many friend groups over the years. I was never one to really stick in. Like, I wasn't a jock. I wasn't a goth. I was a nerd, but I kind of, I don't know. There wasn't really like a nerd group at my school. Yeah, I was kind of just more of like a outcast that kind of just like hovered from groups. Cause like I was really big with like the goth and the emo group. Like those were like all my closest friends. And then I started lifting weights, and then all of a sudden all the jocks started like thinking I was cool, you know? Like it's so funny how trivial high school is. Like just because you do one thing, all of a sudden you're like a part of that group, you know? But I hovered around through like lots of groups, right? And like no matter, it kind of bums me out, and maybe this is just from my experiences, and there's, you know, different, I'm sure there's different circumstances out there, but like from a lot of my experiences and all the social groups that I've been in, one like resounding similarity between all of them is that if ever there's drama in a group, it usually like, oh boy, it'll usually like cause like a permanent rift amongst those people. And I'm not saying I haven't had my own permanent disagreements with people, right? But it's interesting to see how even friends in a group that are like constantly around each other, and not even like in a constructive way, but just flat out like shit talking. You know, it's amazing. It's sad, really. I've bounced around a lot of groups, and I've always been excited. Like, oh, you know, it's cool. Like, I'm in this new group of people. They're all really tight. Like, I'm excited to be a part of this community. And then it's sad because it always resorts to people eventually just like talking massive shit on each other, even though they're supposed to be the closest of friends. And then it just really like turns me off from like social groups altogether. And maybe it's not even so much as like a friend group as at this point it should, like, I know I was previously deliberately describing cliques, but even like into adulthood, you know, like I find groups of friends and it just ends up being another clique, and they're not really friends. They're just people that are around each other all the time, and they joke and have fun, but they also kind of dislike each other. And I've always thought, like, if you guys don't like each other's company, or if you're pretending to like each other's company, then like, what's the point? Just say that you don't like each other. Admit it to each other's faces, but don't, like, I don't know, man. Just don't waste people's time by putting in all this effort and energy into their lives, then going behind their back and just talking shit on them, you know? I've just experienced so much of that, to the point that it just makes me wonder, like, is there a such thing as a friend group that just doesn't hate each other? Actually likes being friends? I love my cousins, but they have some funny stories. Also, her and Christina once took me to Ozfest. That was an interesting experience. Cousins are the best. Yeah. Now, cousins are the best. Cousins are always like that balance of like family and friend, because sometimes like siblings or like aunts and uncles can be too much family, and sometimes you have to kind of like respect those positions as a family member. But cousins are like almost like disconnected enough that they can just be kind of friends that you bullshit with. And so it makes things like a lot more natural. Also, you can kiss your cousins too, so that's really cool. But no, yeah, I like I've had some good cousins as friends over the years for sure. Dude, I think maybe I need to like re-queue or something. I just keep getting on this like shitter team, and I'm not like an all-star or anything, but we just are getting destroyed every match. It's crazy. No shit talking. My family is way cooler than I. Well, and that's good. It's good that you have friends and family that are cooler than you. It brings you up, you know? It's like, isn't that like a thing with like people that are trying to date? Is like they surround themselves with less attractive people, so it makes them look more attractive.
Losing the camp. Get over there and get them out.
You're like the less attractive family member. But you surround yourself with cooler family members, so that makes you cooler.
We held out against the Death Star. We can hold our camp a little longer.
But yeah, Chad. Despite all the heavy conversations, at the end of the day, you know, again, I have some amazing family. I have the coolest girlfriend in the world. I've got some good friends, and I've got a very supportive community. I have a lot of things that I'm very grateful for, you know. I think sometimes I just like having the conversation, those like real hard conversations, but not even in like a negative way. It's just nice to talk about it, you know, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes we're too concerned about having a heavy conversation that we just make up these very superficial, surface level conversations because we don't want to like harsh the vibe or anything. But it's not even like it's a bad thing. It's just people experiencing life. Man, this is like, I could have held that. That could have been like a really good angle. Where'd this guy come from? Yeah, I think we need a new lobby. Our team is just getting wrecked every time.
We got troopers incoming.
Is that why I'm here? I'm not used to being the ugly brother. Well, you know, nobody said it, but if you're thinking it, then there must be some truth to it, right? Guy's name is Holy Cheese. But how's everyone's nights going? I'm having a good night. I'm glad to be here with you guys. I really missed, it was kind of a bummer not being able to stream the last 4 days. Feels good to be back in it, honestly. Man, I gotta tell you guys, I love streaming, man. I love this stuff so much. And I'm grateful for you guys hanging out. I think it's cool, you know. I really appreciate you guys coming to hang out, and even if you're active in the chat or not, if you're just lurking, like, that's cool, you know. I've been looking forward to this all week. I've just been so tired with work and everything, but I always look forward to streaming, and then the moment I'm done streaming, I just look forward to it again the next time. I can't wait for the days when I can just do this for like 8-12 hours a day, you know. I will. Once I have like the opportunity in my life, I will absolutely stream for ungodly amounts of hours. I gotta get better too. Gotta get better for you guys. Oh, damn it. I really want to play Leia. Lando would be fun too. I haven't played Lando in a while. We're actually holding these guys back. We might actually win this one for once. Lady Azaria, what's up? How are you doing? What are you up to tonight? We're getting kind of wrecked in a Battlefront currently. Oh, there's BB-8. Oh, I kind of like this spot actually. This kind of worked out. If only I could just stay here and just chill. This actually might... BB-8 threw me up here, and I'm actually kind of grateful for it. Or a little evil BB-8. He's in the shield now, I can't hit him. Man, those little soccer balls are so hard to hit. My girlfriend and I started watching Tiger King again recently. Dude, I love Tiger King. I love everything about... I think my favorite thing about Tiger King is when that came out, the whole world stopped to watch it. And everybody was watching and talking about Tiger King. And I just love that time of like absolute unity that the entire world had. It was so cool. And it's such a good documentary. It's genuinely so interesting. Every person in that documentary comes off as the most interesting and evil person, but you kind of also root for him a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, obviously, they're all kind of weird, and like Carol Baskin is like maybe a murderer, and Doc Antle like grooms young women, and Joe just has all kinds of things going on. But there's also just something kind of like like you kind of want to see him win almost. It was one of those special shows for sure. It's so fun rewatching it. Yeah, and like looking back, and I think that's, it's almost nostalgic watching it and looking back. Well, shoot, chat, we actually won one for once. That feels good. We got Battlefront 3 in 5th place. Of the Ashes, that guy has been first in every game. I'm gonna back out and requeue. I'm tired of that lobby. That always happens though. Every match, there's always one person that is consistently at the top of the leaderboard, no matter what. It's such a complicated web of people. I know, it's amazing how all these people are connected. Because not only do you have like Joe and Doc Antle and Carol Baskin, but then you have like, you have a drug dealer, like a big, like a cocaine, like a big, like heavy hitter drug dealer. And then you've got just like a bunch of random guys out in the woods that tote guns and have tigers. And they all know each other for some reason. Like everybody that owns a tiger knows each other. We're in the same exact lobby. It's literally all the same people.
Troops on the ground.
Well, here we go. Round 2.
But is still extremely dangerous. A special forces crew remains on site, purging compromised.
That's all right though. At least this time we're attacking. I think attacking is better than defending. You can usually get in some better positioning, especially as a specialist. That's what you get for trying to. Yeah, I know. It's like cheating, isn't it? One of these times, though, I just want to be that guy that's at the top of the leaderboard, you know? I want to be that guy that's making all the other teams rage. Because I'm just destroying them. I want to be that guy. Come on, come on. Peek again. Peek again. Oh, peek again. Yes! Alright, chat. We're warming up a little bit. I'm hitting some headshots. I'm hitting another one. See, this is when I get hype. and then I get into this like weird flow state. Oh! Okay, that's 3 for 3 right now. 3 shots, 3 heads. Okay, that still hit him though. I got him in the shoulder.
They will lose the turbo laser.
Quick chat, tell him to get good. Yeah, I do need some encouragement, chat.
Grenade deployed.
Please tell me to get good. Damn it! I don't know what happened, but like last stream, you know how runners say they get like a runner's high? Where if they're running long enough, they just get this... Whoa, what the hell? Where runners, like if they're running long enough, they say they get this runner's high and then like they could just go on forever, you know? Last time I was streaming this, I just entered this like weird flow state. I can't even describe it. Like I was just like locked in. And I think I don't want to say I have ADHD because I feel like, and this isn't to discredit the people that do have ADHD. I feel like a lot of people say they have ADHD just because it's like kind of a newer thing, you know? Everyone's like, oh, I must have ADHD. I don't want to say I have ADHD, but I think I do have some sort of, I think I just with my anxiety, I have like troubles focusing because I'm always like thinking of 3 different things at once. But last stream we got into this like I was just like locked in, and it's very rare for me to have like that deep of a level of focus. But it was such a good feeling because I was just like I was hitting every shot, and we were like constantly winning, and it felt good. I was stoked. Get good, you goof. Alright. Kiwi Paste, that's what's gonna do it for me. Because you said that, I'll hit this next headshot for you. Maybe not on a Jedi though, because they're really fast and hard to hit. Oh. Alright, Kiwi Paste. This next shot's for you. You ready for this? You better be ready for this. It's gonna be the coolest shot you've ever seen. It'll be on a montage later. Once I can literally find anybody.
Securing the control center.
Oh, what just happened? What's going on?
Rebel leader on site.
I think we're getting hacked.
The rebel camp is nearly secure.
Yeah.
The sector is secure.
Yeah, we're getting hacked. That's what's happening right now.
Clear path before we
Let's see what happens. Maybe something interesting. I wonder who the hacker is. This is kind of interesting. Gonna be so good, doesn't see anyone for 5 minutes. Hey, you know, Kiwi Paste, I said this next shot's for you, and then I got hacked, so I actually have an excuse. So I guess we're just gonna back out, because, yeah. Yeah. This next shot's for you. Gets hacked. Can't play the game. That was amazing timing. Okay, this next shot, actually, this time, is for you. I bet you hacked it so you couldn't miss that headshot. I wish I knew how, honestly. I wish I could say that I had the knowledge. I couldn't hack shit. If anyone ever came to me and said I did something illegal, I just don't have it in me. I wouldn't even know how to begin to do anything illegal and not get caught. And let that be, you know, let that be my My testification. That's me testifying on stream right now. I will never do anything illegal because I don't know how. I just wouldn't succeed. I don't have a mind for it. I wouldn't even begin to understand. I'm sure for hackers it's probably simple, but I just wouldn't know how to begin to hack something. It's just well beyond me. Alright, Kiwi Paste. This next shot is for you. Ready? Oh! I hit. Told you. I hit and I killed. See? That was a far shot too. You gotta give me that one. So, if I show her that, you think, this is a good map for sniping. I like this one. Hey, I'm curious, did any of you guys watch, like, any of the Xbox or PlayStation or PC showcases? I didn't watch the PlayStation one yet. I caught, like, the tail end of the Xbox one, and then I watched a bunch of the PC one. The PC one felt kind of weird. I felt like they displayed more mobile games than they did PC games, which just... I didn't quite understand what they were going for there. I haven't looked at all the games yet, and I've never really played horror games all that much, but the new Silent Hill looks amazing. I never played the first Grounded, but the second one looks really cool too. Oh wow. Oh, I had such an easy shot and I botched it. That guy was just standing there. I was just so focused on all the game recaps. Oh! Oh! I saw the Silent Hill one and it does look so fun. We, my girlfriend and I, we just watched the Silent Hill movie, and it's, the first one, I think is so good. I thought it aged incredibly well. Some of the monsters are very clearly, obviously CGI, but like the tech kind of didn't age like amazingly well. Especially like the first little monsters that she sees when she gets to Silent Hill, those little like fire baby things. But honestly, I thought that movie aged really well. It's, the story is really good, and the payoff is like, not to sound like a psychopath or anything, but like the violence at the end is so rewarding. It's okay. So the way that Silent Hill ends almost feels like a Tarantino movie. Like if Tarantino decided to do like a horror movie, I feel like he would have done Silent Hill, because there's like moderate amounts of violence throughout in like very key and critical moments. Like it's not senseless or mindless violence. It's usually like, if someone dies or is hurt, it's because there's a reason to it. They don't just like needlessly kill characters. It's usually to add to like a feeling or an emotion that's currently just being displayed. But the violence at the end with the church is amazing. It's like, it's such a huge payoff because of everything that they had done. And you're kind of like satisfied to see them, because they're so righteous, like wrongfully righteous. It's very rewarding to see what they get in the end. And I'm sorry if that makes me sound crazy, but the ending is just so satisfying. crazy violent. Like if you can't handle violence well, I would say maybe don't watch Silent Hill. Like let me like put a disclaimer out there. It's a very like the violence in that movie is super intense. Like it's on a whole nother level compared to like other horror movies. But man, it's such a good movie. And for how old it is, I think it just aged so well. Because movies from like the early 2000s felt very early 2000s, and for some of them it's a really bad thing, but I think the Silent Hill movie did really well. I'm curious to watch Revelations again, because I remember thinking that Revelations wasn't nearly as good as the first one, and that might be even more relevant now, but I'm still probably going to watch it anyways, just because. But yeah, the new game looks absolutely incredible. I can't play scary games, but I love watching people play them. Yeah, I might give it a shot. I mean, Subnautica, I thought I could play Subnautica, but that's just like, that's like a primal fear for me. You know, there's a difference between like playing a horror game and then playing something that genuinely is like a real phobia of mine in real life. So that's my excuse for not being able to commit to Subnautica. Subnautica 2 might be different though, since there's going to be multiple people. That might kind of ease some of my tension for me, but we'll see. The end of the movie is like full on vengeance that's totally earned. Yeah, exactly. Again, all the violence in Silent Hill, like, it has a purpose, which I really liked about that movie. Well, I don't even know if I'd qualify it so much as a horror movie, as it kind of feels like more like a thriller, you know? At least not a horror movie in like the traditional sense, because there's not really like any jump scares or any moments that you're supposed to be like scared. It's just kind of like this perpetual emotion of like unease, and I think that's kind of more like a thriller vibe, you know? Because I'm not into like horrors in the traditional sense. Like I never got into any of the slashers. I'm not like a big like Grudge or The Ring or any of those movies. I've watched them. I think they're okay, but I think for me, I need something with a little bit more depth to the story, and I think that's where thrillers kind of fit that little niche, like right in between. So yeah, I think I'm more of a thriller guy than I am like an outright horror guy. No bueno on the scary. Subnautica seems like your personal phobia rather than scary. Yeah, exactly. Like I think I could probably, because I played Dead Space. I've played Dead Space and Resident Evils, and those games don't. They definitely scare me at first, but I think I kind of like get a little accustomed to it. But Subnautica is genuinely just like terrifying. Like it actually freaks me out so bad, and it's not even technically designed to be a horror game. It's kind of just like a survival sim with like light horror elements, but because it's such a primal thing for people, that's like the distinction. Because you can make like a scary little demon or ghost and it's like, ooh, scary, you know, but like deep ocean water, that's like a primal human fear. Like it just comes down to like rational human thinking of like, I'm not supposed to be out here. Like nothing in this is safe. Like our caveman emotions are coming out, our hunter-gatherer emotions are coming out, and it's just like a rational thought of, this is not a place for me to be right now. Oh shoot, that tank was there. That sucks. Damn it. Yeah, I would say it's closer to being a thriller. Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. Well, we're in 8th, so we're excuse me. We are working our way up. The "were" and "working" was too close together, and my mind just couldn't comprehend it. We are working. No more contractions, chat. Damn, where'd that guy come from? But yeah, I'm thinking I like the energy in Battlefront 2. I think I need to find some more higher energy games to play. It just kind of helps bring the energy out of me too. I'll probably I plan on finishing Skyrim and Baldur's Gate in Schedule 1, but I think these higher energy games just kind of help me kind of calibrate a little bit. You feel me?
Drop back and rearm. Next squad forward.
But yeah, in other news, our move's coming up to Tennessee. We're getting amazingly close now. We're less than 2 months away, which feels really good. I'm really ready for a big change, chat. I'm very excited. We're still doing pretty well on the charity for this month. I think once we factor in, so we got the $50 from donations, and then once we factor in like all the subs and everything, that puts us at like another 50. So we're at like 100 out of 250 for the month, which is pretty amazing. Honestly, I'm pretty stoked on that. Oh, nice! I didn't really see him. Yeah, we've made good progress on the donations. I'm currently actively communicating with an artist to get some stuff designed for the stream, which I'm very excited for. Working on an icon for the channel points, and what else? Yeah, just working on stuff. I think here in about a month, I will have more time to focus on the stream and streaming, which I'm really excited for. So stay tuned for that. I'll give you guys an update when I can, but I'm working on some stuff in the background so I can stream for a lot more, because I think this last month before we move, I want to just dedicate like a bunch of time to streaming. It's a big goal of mine. So July is going to be my month that I plan to stream a lot, and hopefully continue that trend from there. But yeah, other than that, just living, working on the stream stuff when I can. I think I'll dip my toes into multi-streaming as well, which I'm pretty excited for. I just unlocked, because I think I had to unlock the ability to multi-stream on TikTok, and I just recently got access to that, and so I was gonna do it tonight, but I honestly just forgot. I got home and time just got ahead of me. Yeah, but I'm gonna try my hand at multi-streaming. TikTok just has so much discoverability, it's amazing. Oh. Oh. Oh.
Trust me, no one gets hurt while
Who the hell was that? Damn. Oh, but yeah, chat, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to everything. Oh, there we go. Wobo Nobo Nobo. I think that was that guy's name. Wobo Nobo Nobo. I think also eventually I need to watch Andor. I watched the first season, but I need to watch the second season. I watched I thought Mandalorian was good. I didn't think it was amazing, but I thought it was good. Book of Boba Fett started off really strong and then ended up really underwhelming me. I didn't even bother with Alkalite. I don't think that even looked anything relative to Star Wars. That just seemed like a... Acolyte looked like a fucking meme, I'll be honest. I thought that show looked absolutely stupid. I'm sorry if you liked it, but I could not be bothered to watch that shit. What else? What else was there?
Superior ally taken to the battlefield.
Obi-Wan. I liked Obi-Wan. I thought the action scene between him and like Anakin / Darth Vader was really emotional, honestly. And I'm sure it was emotional for those guys getting together after, you know, however many years it was since they had last acted together, which is amazing. But yeah, I think Andor... I think viewership-wise, Andor unfortunately didn't exceed Disney's expectations, but I feel like it was... I felt like Andor was like the least sensational Star Wars show, but also, in my opinion, like one of the best in terms of story and writing and like character development. I guess I kind of have a taste for like, because Andor is like a slow burn, and I really like shows and movies that have like that slow burn, you know? Because like Boba Fett and Mando are like very punchy, you know? And Andor is like it's a story that develops very slowly, but it's just so good. So I'm very excited to watch season 2 because I haven't touched it at all. I have no idea what happens. I honestly might need to just rewatch. Well, I will rewatch the first season with my girlfriend, but I kind of forgot the first season. I just remember like the prison break. That's like the biggest thing that I remember. But I love the actor that plays... Can't remember his name right now, but who plays the protagonist. I think he's such a good actor, and he does such a good like scoundrel character, like a real true Star Wars scoundrel, you know? Because Star Wars kind of like, in my mind, I think Star Wars really made like the space gangster with like Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. Like those guys like have such swagger, and I feel like no sci-fi movie has ever captured like a space gangster as well as Star Wars has. And I think I'm mad at myself for not remembering his name, but I think the protagonist in Andor just captures that so well, because he's the hero, but he also kind of feels like a villain. And you know, like that's, to me, is like the perfect Star Wars Maul. Well, at least actually that worked out for our favor. I'm kind of glad he did that. But yeah, Andor, Rogue One. I know this might be like a hot take, but Rogue One, I think, is genuinely my favorite Star Wars movie. Don't get me wrong, I love the original trilogy. I love the Clone Wars. I actually really liked Solo. I loved the casting for Solo. It's like seeing Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, I think, is probably one of the best castings ever. I have so much admiration and respect for Donald Glover. I just think he's so talented, and I think he played Lando so well. I would love to see... I hope they choose a different direction, but I would love to see some more Star Wars movies, honestly. I did not like the new trilogy at all, but I would love to see them redo it. Not redo a trilogy, that trilogy, but I would love to see it. I just want more Star Wars content, man. I want to see them try it again. I want more Star Wars movies. I mean, we've gotten so many shows. We have to be due for a movie soon. Because I feel like that's all we've gotten after the trilogy was just shows. The end of Acolyte was decent. The rest was meh. Yeah. I think there was just so many I didn't watch the show, but I saw so much of it on social media, and I try not to let social media sway my opinion on things, because obviously there was a lot of really negative social media on that show. Really, the Dog 21. What's up, brother? But yeah, I saw so many clips from the Acolyte that I was just like, I couldn't watch this. There's so many scenes in this that just completely take me out of it. I'm about to snort some ketamine and go to a K-hole. How you doing though? Pretty good, actually. I'm a lot more relaxed than snorting some ketamine, but that sounds really fun. I hope you stay safe. Nah, we're having a good time though. Just trying to get. I haven't played shooters in a while, so I'm trying to get a little bit better at Battlefront. But yeah. Glad you're hanging out. We were just talking about Star Wars shows and movies recently. I was saying, I would genuinely, I would like to see them make some more Star Wars movies. I'd be down. I'm just like a big cinema guy. Like, I love going to the movies. I know it's kind of a dead thing now, and it's just expensive. You know, you go with your girlfriend, and all of a sudden you're spending like $60 to go watch a movie. But it's got a charm for me that I just don't think I'll ever be able to let go. I hope in my lifetime movie theaters don't go away. That was a genuine fear for me during COVID, and I feel like they're still struggling. But I hope I get to outlast the extinction of movie theaters, or vice versa. I just hope they don't die out before I do. That's good, bro. Star Wars has been hella fun lately. Me too. I know Star Wars movies are cooked, but I hope they make another, man. Yeah. I know, yeah, but well, there was the Fortnite Star Wars event, which was super dope. I actually got to play the ending before work. I think yesterday, right? I think yesterday was the new chapter in Fortnite. And I got to play the event, which was kind of cool because you actually like storm the Death Star, and that was pretty fun. And then there's like a huge resurgence on Battlefront II, obviously, and people are clamoring for Battlefront 3. Yeah, I think, and then Disney, you know, Star Wars isn't going anywhere. So I think despite my opinions and like the public's opinions on the state of Star Wars, I think Star Wars is in a great spot, and I'm very excited to see what they do with it next. I don't always like everything that they do, but that doesn't mean that I want them to stop, you know? And that doesn't mean that my opinion's right, because I know other people enjoy shows or movies that I didn't enjoy, and vice versa. But yeah, I love Star Wars, you know? I grew up on it, so I'd love to see more of it. I have no problem with them milking the cash cow. Yeah, Fortnite bringing back Star Wars is crazy. I know. I was glad that they did that. Honestly, I saw, you know, I think whatever people's opinions are of Fortnite, I think it actually did a really good thing for the Star Wars community. Funny enough, so. But I like Fortnite. I play it from time to time. I'm not very good at battle royales, but I do enjoy playing it with some friends from time to time. Oh, man, that guy was behind me. That's crazy. That guy saved my life. Oh, nice. I'm glad I got that shot off. That guy was stressing me out. It's going to be ads in 45 minutes, chat. I apologize for the ads. You know, once you hit affiliate, you got no choice but to run them. But I'm trying to figure out. I've seen some streamers have the ads that pop up silently on the side, and I've been trying to figure out. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if you have to reach a certain level or something. I've tried to figure out if I could turn those on so you guys don't get interrupted with ads, but I'm still trying to figure out, you know, the best way to navigate having to put on ads. So I appreciate you guys' patience and bearing with me. Oh, we missed such a good opportunity. It's okay. We got a second chance.
MTT's proceeding through checkpoint 2.
I just miss the days when I was a kid. You could go into Walmart or any store, you know, and there would be a whole toy aisle dedicated to Star Wars, and the merchandising and branding was sick. It just felt like you were entering like a whole nother world. And I hope we get that again. There was something so magical about being a kid and going down the Star Wars toy aisle. I loved it. It looks like Star Wars Legos are still doing really well too. I haven't bought some in a while, but I mean, dude, those sets are the best, man. Star Wars Lego sets are amazing. Nice. There we go. We're getting some good shots in. Yeah, way to get around ads is to like and subscribe. Yeah, way to get around ads is to like and subscribe. Yeah, exactly. I know I was kind of messing around with my Twitch settings, and you can turn on ads for subscribers, and I was like, oh my god, what kind of person does that? That's crazy. Look at Anakin's protecting this one clone sniper. Look at him. He's protecting these guys. That's amazing. Too bad they're both dead. What do you think about that, Annie? You gonna go kill children now? Where is he? Oh, he's right by us, actually. I know, yeah, I don't know why I'm walking towards him. I always walk towards the Jedi like I'm gonna do something. Here, let's just bring him super... Oh! No, wait. Keep coming, keep coming. Come all the way back here. I know he's just toying with me now, but I'm just gonna see how far I can take him. Because I think eventually at some point I'm gonna take him so far that he's just gonna die out here. Nope, 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 nope. Did you see that? There's a battle droid right there, and he just looked at him. This guy must be... That was weird. I wasn't the only one that saw that, right? Maybe he wanted to be friends. Maybe I'll find him again. Hold on, chat. Let's go find him again. He seems kind of chill. Yeah, what the hell? Look at him. He's not even fighting anybody. I wonder if he's throwing. No, I don't know what he's doing. He's just messing around, I guess. That's funny though. Still got him. What about you, Thundercalf? What have you been playing lately? I remember I told you about Dawn of War, and you started playing that a little bit. What are you playing right now? Oh! Oh, damn it. Bad positioning, chat. Ooh, it could be play a hero? No, they're all taken. Oh, it could be Boba Fett. I haven't played Boba in a while. That'd be fun. But yeah. Right now, it's mostly Warno 2. What's Warno? Is that a shorthand for something? Can't say I know what Warno is. Oh, he moved. Oh, we still shot him though, but that didn't kill him. How did that not kill him? I even got the head marker, or like the hit marker on the head and everything. I'm amazed that he lived through that. That's kind of crazy. Damn. That's a bummer. I feel like we just got cheated. Sticking with my tried and true war strategy games. There, we got our redemption, bastard. I figured it was a strategy game. I sometimes get the itch to play an RTS. I was never one who could play competitively. I don't like trying to go for the whole high APM thing, but I like, you know, like StarCraft 2. I actually really enjoy the campaign for StarCraft 2. I like to play that game from time to time just to experience the campaign. Alright, what do we got? Where is everyone? Anyone behind us? No. We got some boys coming up though. Ooh, we hit him. I think this will be a good map to attack on, especially once we get to the ship. There's just so much open space. StarCraft and later StarCraft 2 was most of my high school gaming experience. I can't remember what I played in high school. I'm trying to think about that. I think no, high school is when I got into World of Warcraft for sure. That's when I lost my social life. I played a lot of World of Warcraft in high school. And a little bit of Destiny, actually. That was my MMO phase. Oh, come on. Damn. Back when Blizzard wasn't weird. I got super into Blizzard at that time. I was playing everything Blizzard. Okay, can we play Boba? Damn it. I'll still never get over what happened to Blizzard, though. I just remember following the story of, like, the three founders. Like Mike Morhaime and the crew, you know? And those guys were just, they were, like, so cool and so passionate. And they genuinely loved what they were doing. And it's just so sad to see what Blizzard's become. I think they're doing better now. I don't know. I haven't really checked in on Blizzard in a while. I played whatever the newest expansion's called. I can't even remember anymore. There's just so many of War Within, maybe? I think that's what it is, right? I played a little bit of War Within. I did a little bit of the first raid, and I mean, it was all right, but oh, that was unlucky. But I don't know. It just couldn't hold me, you know. And I mean, it's, you know, granted that game's like 20 years old, so obviously it's done a great job in lasting this long, but I don't know, it's just hard to keep up with those guys. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, there we go. I got one.
Rear fuel pipes before the cruiser launches.
When everybody's just standing up there, you just got the easiest shots in the world. Honestly, though, like, I guess for me, now that I'm kind of over, like, Blizzard, I think the next Blizzard for me is Bungie, just because what those guys are going through is crazy now, too. I gotta say, too, I'm kind of upset because I was actually really excited for Marathon. I thought the art style was really cool, and I'm not an extraction shooter guy. I never really got super into them, but I was gonna give it a shot for Marathon. And then, you know, we find out that almost like the entire draw of the game for me, which was the art style, was just completely ripped off of an independent artist, actually plagiarized, like, exactly. And it's not even the first time that Bungie's plagiarized before. And I know that they, you know, they outsource and everything, but I don't know, man. It's just like, you guys claim that you're for the community and everything, and then you just steal from the community. It's, yeah. Again, it was just the #1 draw of the entire game for me, and that was stolen, so, you know, not a good foundation of interest in the game. Oh, I was rubber banding there for a minute. I couldn't get a clear shot. Yeah, we're within. I liked the expansion right before. We had a good group to play with, and the content was really fun with the time walking. The time walking was super fun, yeah. And I'm sure this isn't like the end of my World of Warcraft days. I'm sure I'll get back into it. I don't know. I guess I'm someone who I'm like a loyalist, you know? Like, if I find something I like, it's very hard to get me away from that thing, right? And not just like talking about relationships, but just like clothes, for example. Like, I like Nike, you know? They make clothes that fit me and are super comfortable, and I usually like some of their designs, and so I like to wear Nike gear. And so with like video games, right? I've always wanted to find like my game, you know, like Asmongold has World of Warcraft, and I'm drawing a blank on another example, but you get the point. And I've always wanted to find like my game, and I've had a couple of games that I've definitely played for a while, but I don't know. I think now, especially that I'm getting into streaming, I would love to find like my game that has like, that is, you know, it's like a live service, right? Like, it's a game that's always updating, that's got new content coming out, that keeps people excited and hyped, but also has like end game PvE plus end game PvP. So there's interest in like high skill and everything. It's wild that Bungie's tried multiple times. Any big public company ripping off art is going to be found out. Yeah, and I guess they're whatever you want to call it, whether it's an excuse or what, they say that it's always, again, I don't know how Bungie's work process is, but it's always like a previous artist. So I think they like temporarily hire artists to do some work for them, and then they just use that work. But I think the issue is that they hire these temporary artists, supposedly, if this is the circumstance, and they just completely plagiarize someone, and then they leave, so they're not bound by anything, you know? But yeah, I think you know, chat, I think I need to find like my game again, being like the loyalist that I am, and being someone who wants to stream. Not that it's an end all be all for streamers, because there's tons of streamers that do all kinds of different things, but I gotta say, you know, I don't want to be stuck to that game, right? I want to play other games, of course, but I think there's something cool about, like, I watch like Aztecross, what are the other guys? There's Aztecross, Bife, Datto, like a bunch. Cactus. I was so in tune with the Destiny community back in the day. Like I watched all those guys. I watched all their YouTube videos. Oh, Houndish. Houndish was my favorite. I would watch Houndish's videos every day. I loved Houndish. But there's something cool about, you know, these streamers and content creators that are like always on that game, right? They play other stuff, and I will play other stuff as well, but it's kind of cool when you can like develop a community around a game that you all simultaneously enjoy, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I'll do some more thinking. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm working on right now. You know, we're just getting started, and there's so much growth to be had. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there for tonight. But it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate everyone who came out. I appreciate you guys' company and hanging out and being part of the stream. And yeah, if you had a good time, if you had fun, a follow helps out a lot for the channel. And I hope to see you around again. But yeah, otherwise, I hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for showing up, and until next time.